If you're thinking about adding a layer of shingles to your current roof,
stop and watch this video.
So this is episode 2 of Shingle Mingle. In this episode, we want to cover layovers or roof overs, or there's a lot of different terms for it. But basically what it is when you already have shingles on your roof and you install another layer on top of that. So there's a couple questions. I'm going to let Michael here kind of give you guys some information. We're going to go over the pros and cons and just kind of discuss our feelings about it. So first thing I want to bring up, Michael, warranty issues with a layover. Can you describe that?
So we don't give a warranty on layovers for multiple reasons. You have a whole roof under yours. It's not going to last as long. There's leaks can come from anywhere. It can come from the roof before, but also, I mean...
Yeah. Well, basically, we're working on top of somebody else's work. So we really don't have any way of knowing how that first roof was installed without literally checking all the shingles and everything. So Michael, you already touched on, the top layers not lasting as long. So if it's like a 50-year shingle or, or 30-year shingle, whatever, you're basically cutting the lifespan in half. But why is that?
So when you're adding another layer on top, just imagine, most people obviously don't get on your roofs, but roofs are really hot. Adding a whole nother layer on top of it, it's going to be even hotter. So it's going to basically fry your outside shingle from the inside out, and it's just going to deteriorate basically and not last nearly as long as what it's supposed to be because it's not ventilating properly.
Yep. Heat kills shingles. Let me see here. So a lot of people think that they are saving money by doing a layover, but there are basically hidden costs. Okay, one of the hidden costs, excuse me, can be in repairs because a layover is not going to be as good as a full tear off with new underlayment and everything. So when people go to repair, roofers go to repair something that has multiple layers, if they can even repair it, it's going to be more expensive, right? But let's talk about long term. Why is it more expensive for you to do a layover and then remove it later on and all that?
So when you get a layover done, obviously you're going to be saving a little bit on the labor from tearing off the shingles, but whenever you do have to come and replace your roof in the future, because you're only allowed 2 layers, that's code. Mm-hmm. Whenever you have to replace it after that, you're now removing 2 layers, and each layer you have to remove is another additional cost that we have to charge for that. Yeah. Also, it's another charge for dumping or exposing both layers too. So 2 additional charges, another charge for removing, another charge for disposing of.
Yeah, so double the labor to remove and double the price to dispose and haul off the shingles. Now, when like we get a lot of calls for leaks, of course, and there are, it's multiple layers, right? And when we get those, it's a little bit trickier. Yeah. Sometimes it's really hard to find the source of it, and it leads to very expensive repairs.
Yeah.
Why are they harder to find than just say like a 1-layer roof?
So leaks are hard to find in general, even if it's 1 layer, because your leak could be coming in inside right here, but really on the roof it's 20 feet higher. Yeah. It's running down your rafter and then dripping on your drywall there. Well, just imagine adding a whole nother layer. You could be doing the same thing on the top layer and then going down another 20 feet.
Yeah.
So it's just double the work, and it could be double. So
you never really know where it's coming from. This usually leads to like replacing whole slopes at that point.
Correct. Yeah.
And you're not going to get any, even on a repair, you will not get a warranty on something like that if you're having to build up layers and stuff like that. So this next point I want to make, when we install a roof and we do a tear off, a really important aspect of doing that is being able to inspect the decking, because we need a good, solid, nailable surface to attach our shingles to. I mean, that's where most of the wind protection or the tear-off protection comes from. So when you do a layover, you have no way of really inspecting the decking. Yes, you can go in the attic and see, you know, a good portion of the decking, but you can't, like near the eaves, valleys where they kind of merge, there's no way of inspecting that. So it's just, there could be a problem there that you're basically just covering up.
A lot of the times leaks, like you said, like are around the eaves where gutters are.
Yeah.
So if you don't see that and you're putting a whole nother layer on top of, you could be nailing into nothing other than the shingle.
Yeah, and there's really no way to tell.
Yep.
So, gotcha. And when we put on new roofs, obviously we put ice and water shield in the valleys. Well, if there's already shingles in a valley, we can put it on top of that. But still, if that valley already has a deficit and it's not performing right, or there's a leak in the valley, it's still really hard to get it exactly right. You're not going to have the same level of protection, because chances are that first roof, if it's a 3-tab, it might not even have ice and water shield in the valley underneath it.
Yeah.
So it's not really doing you any good. So we're given a lot of reasons not to do a layover.
Another thing is, a lot of people want to do a layover on a dimensional shingle.
Yes, that's a great point.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah.
Right? Shingles are designed to be installed on flat surfaces, so if you already have an architectural shingle, there's no way those other shingles or the new layer shingles will ever seal correctly. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. So another thing I want to talk about is the height that it adds to the roof and the weight that it adds to the roof structure. So tell us about that.
Code requirements used to be 3 layers allowed, but the reasoning for that was because 3-tab shingles were the main shingles being installed. Well, the new shingles are architectural or dimensional. They're basically 2 shingles laminated together, so they're heavier, and with heavier shingles now being installed, they bumped it down to 2 layers, obviously because they're heavier. And many things that we have seen when we go in attics, when we see multiple layers on, you'll see the actual framing, like the 2x6s or 2x8s, they will be bowed in, and a lot of times we've seen them where they've cracked, that we've had to go in and brace those or replace. It's just not a good thing to do. Also, he's talking about the height. So obviously each layer you add is going to get higher and higher, and when you come up to like dormers or siding, it's not going to be flashed properly, or the siding's not going to be cut up high enough to let the water drain out, and it's going to deteriorate your siding, your wood. It's just going to lead to leaks more than likely if you don't tear off.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then one last thing, a lot of people, when they want to do a layover, it's because they're probably getting ready to sell their house. And, you know, it seems like, okay, I'm going to, I guess, improve the curb appeal of my home by adding another layer. But we see this all the time where people do that, and then they have a buyer who gets the home inspected, and now all of a sudden having multiple layers is a reason for them to walk away or try to negotiate you down more. Really, if you have a roof that's in bad shape, you can basically add equity to your home or increase the selling price beyond what we would charge you to even put the roof on, if you just do a tear off and put a brand new roof on it. So that is like one of the best times to put a new roof on a home. It's going to sell quicker, and you should get a little bit more than what you paid. So we've covered a ton of cons. I think you, the viewer, can tell that we are not, we don't agree with doing layovers. But Michael, if you had to list some pros, because there's always a pro, you know, to everything, I guess. But give me some pros, if any.
So really, there's basically two that I can think of. One, you're saving a few dollars up front just from saving the labor to tear off. But like we mentioned, you're going to pay for that later on. And then I guess this is a pro. Whenever you're tearing off a roof, all that debris on your roof is coming off. All those nails, all those shingles are going to be coming off your roof onto your landscape, your yard, which is a lot. But we have an equipter, which is a buggy that's motorized that has hydraulics on it that lifts up. So, I mean, whenever we do tear-offs, we have that on basically every job that catches all the debris into the buggy, and we go and dump it straight into our trailer. So it's saving all the debris from going to the ground.
Yeah. So it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
Like we'll give that 1.5 pros.
Yeah.
And like even with the equipter, and then you've got the catch-all.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many new ways of keeping the yards safe and clean. So, and that's why we have one of our top production managers here. You might know him from HGTV. It's Mike Holmes. His motto, I guess, is "Make it right or roof it right." So, you know, we follow that philosophy, and we're really happy that he was able to join us today. So if anybody watching this, if you're in the Memphis area, give us a call if you'd like a quote, or if you're on the fence, I'd love to talk to you about any issue you have with your roof, or go into this topic in more detail. Our number is 901-854-3402, and that is it for Shingle Mingle episode 2.
And ask for Michael Miller.
That's right.